Sarah's family hosted Thanksgiving every year, but this time something felt different. Her aunt kept insisting someone else was coming, an old family friend. No one knew who she meant, but a place was set for him at the table. During dinner, the empty chair stayed pulled slightly away from the table, as if someone were sitting there. The candles flickered whenever that chair was approached, and Sarah's dog refused to go near it. Throughout the night, her aunt kept nodding toward the empty seat, smiling as if listening to someone speak. When Sarah quietly asked who she was talking to, her aunt replied, "He comes every year. You just don't remember." The unsettling part came later, when Sarah found an old photo album in the living room. Inside it was a picture of her family from 10 years ago, Thanksgiving 2015. Beside her aunt sat a tall, pale man in old-fashioned clothing, but his face had been scratched out by deep, jagged lines. The caption written under the photo said, "Our yearly visitor." No one in the family remembered ever seeing him before. Story 2. The Empty House on Old Mill Road. Ethan delivered groceries during the holidays. One Thanksgiving afternoon, he received an order to a house on Old Mill Road. An abandoned farmhouse locals said was condemned. The app verified the location. The order was paid. Instructions said, "Leave the meal on the dining table. Door will be unlocked." Against his better judgment, Ethan entered. Inside, the air was cold. The dining room was cleaned and table fully set for a Thanksgiving feast. Plates, candles, glasses, yet everything was covered in a thin layer of dust. He placed the bag down as he turned to leave. He heard chairs shifting behind him, as though several people had just sat down. His phone vibrated. A new notification from the customer. "Thank you. We haven't celebrated in years." When Ethan looked back at the table, he saw fresh handprints in the dust, 5 of them, pressed into the wood as though someone had just touched it. He ran. When he checked the app the next day, the order history showed nothing. No address, no payment, no record the delivery was ever placed. Story 3. The Wrong Family Photo. Lily's family had a tradition. Every Thanksgiving, they took a group picture in front of the fireplace. This year, when she checked the camera screen, she noticed something strange. There was an extra figure in the back row, someone tall, blurred, standing directly behind her younger brother. No one else saw anyone behind him when the photo was taken. They took another picture. The same figure appeared, this time closer, with its head tilted at an unnatural angle. Her father deleted the photos and took a third one. This time the figure wasn't in the background. It was standing at the very front, blocking half the family. But when they looked around the room, it was empty. That night, Lily checked her phone again. The pictures had reappeared, except in the newest one. The blurred figure was sitting at the table between her parents, its head lowered as if looking directly at her screen. Story 4. The Last Customer of the Night. Ben worked at a small grocery store that closed early on Thanksgiving. 10 minutes before closing, an elderly woman entered wearing a tattered coat and carrying an outdated shopping list written in shaky handwriting. She thanked him for staying open, insisting her family was waiting for her Thanksgiving meal. Ben helped her gather the items. At checkout, she handed him a handful of old coins, so old they were no longer in circulation. When he tried to tell her, she simply smiled and said, "They were new when I bought them." She walked out into the cold night. Curious, Ben checked the security cameras later. The footage showed him scanning items, talking, smiling, but the woman was nowhere to be seen. He appeared to be speaking to empty air. The next morning, the store owner told him something quietly. "Every Thanksgiving, someone matching that description shows up." She used to live nearby, before her house burned down 40 years ago. Story 5. The House That Kept Calling. A 911 dispatcher named Ava worked Thanksgiving night. Around 8 p.m., she received a call from a young boy whispering, "Can you send someone? They won't stop arguing." Ava asked for his address. He gave it clearly. Officers arrived minutes later, but the house was dark, boarded up, and had been vacant for years. No child lived there. Ava received the same call again an hour later. Same boy. Same whisper. Same plea. Officers checked again. Nothing. The third call came right before her shift ended. This time the boy said, "They're yelling again. Please hurry. They always forget about me." Ava, shaken, asked for his name. Silence. Then, "You used to know me." The line disconnected. She checked the archive call logs. That same number had called every Thanksgiving for the last 12 years. Each time, The caller ID matched a disconnected landline from the abandoned house. Story 6. The roadside offer, driving home on Thanksgiving night. Tom saw an older man standing on the shoulder of a rural road, holding a cardboard sign that read, "Dinner?" Feeling bad, Tom pulled over and offered him a ride. The man barely spoke, only murmured thanks. His clothes looked decades old. His hands were shaking from the cold. When Tom asked where he needed to go, the man pointed toward the woods. "There's a cabin where my family waits." Against better judgment, Tom followed the narrow dirt path until he reached a small cabin. The windows were dark. The door hung open. "Are you sure this is it?" Tom asked. The man nodded, stepped out, and walked straight toward the door without making a sound. When Tom blinked, the man was simply gone. He got out, shining his phone flashlight around. No footprints. No sign of anyone. Inside the cabin were old, rotting plates on a dining table, set for 4 people. In the center was a faded photograph of the man he picked up, seated with his family. The back of the photo read, "Thanksgiving 1979. Last meal together." Tom didn't stay to see more. Story 7. The tradition that never ended. Maria's grandparents owned a remote cabin where the family spent Thanksgiving every year. After her grandparents passed away, the family still honored the tradition, lighting the old fireplace and cooking the recipes they loved. Last year, while cleaning the attic, Maria found a stack of journals belonging to her grandmother. The last entry was dated the day she died. It read, "We will join the family this Thanksgiving. We never miss it." Maria laughed it off. Until that night, while the family played board games downstairs, she heard footsteps upstairs, slow and deliberate. Thinking someone wandered up, she checked the hallway. Empty. When she returned to the living room, the aroma of her grandmother's perfume drifted through the cabin. Soft, floral, impossible to mistake. Her little cousin suddenly pointed to the kitchen and whispered, "There are 2 new people at the table." Maria looked. 2 chairs were pulled out. Plates were filled. Forks rested on napkins, as if someone had just sat down for dinner. Her mother whispered, "Don't say anything. Just let them celebrate." Because in their family, Thanksgiving was a promise, even in death.